after we've gone through that and we've said thanks for inviting me over, what you want to do is you want to use the acronym FORM. This is to make friends with the seller. F stands for family and friends, O stands for occupation, R stands for recreation, M stands for message. For example, the family and friends part, when you're walking around the house with the seller, okay, say you're walking by and he's saying, yeah, we've got a nice gas fireplace here, and you see a picture of his family up on the wall or up there on the mantle. What you want to do is you want to start talking about his family. You want to say, okay, is this your family? I've got a kid about your age, or whatever you want to say to try to build rapport with him and make it seem like you're a friend and not somebody that he's doing business with. That's what you want to do. That's how you want to use the family and friends part. The O stands for occupation. You can ask the seller what he does for work, what he does for a job, how he makes his living, how to get started, just building rapport, just keeping conversation going, trying to be a friend instead of a business, somebody that's trying to do business with him. R stands for recreation. What does he do for fun? What you're wanting to do in this, you're not wanting to take your focus off of the home, but you're wanting to pay attention while you're talking. So you want to do these things while you're really looking around and making sure, using the steps that, Ben, Donna, and everybody, Rob and Jeff and everybody, they all know about, walking through the home and looking and making sure everything's good, making sure there's no cracks in the wall and all that as far as repairs. You want to be looking for all this stuff. And if you have any questions on that, feel free to contact them and they'll help you. But while you're doing this, you want to make sure that you're looking at that also. The M stands for message, and here's your message. Thank you for showing me around the house. Where's a good place for us to sit down and talk through this? Once you sit down, your message is the offer that you're presenting them. And we'll get into that right here. What we want to do in our offer is we want to create a context for an immediate answer, whether they know it or not. What we're going to do is we're going to use some more NLP techniques, and we're going to set it up to where we will have an offer, or not an offer, but we'll have an answer on our offer before we leave. Here's how we do that. Here's the script. There are 4 things we need to talk about, or we need to talk through before I can present an offer to you on your house. Mr. Seller, if I can offer you, or if I make an offer with you that doesn't work for you, or are you okay with telling me that? So basically what you're saying is, if I say something that you're not okay with, are you okay telling me that, or are you just going to nod your head and go along and just not be okay but not say anything? Then once he says yes, I'll tell you that. You'll say, great. That's like you giving me an F. I want you to know that I'm perfectly all right with a no. So, you don't want him to feel like he's being sold. So that's like me, that's like you giving me an F. On the other hand, if what I share with you does work for you, are you okay with telling me that? What you want to do is raise your tone of voice when you say something that works for you. So what you're saying is, if I say something that you're okay with, are you okay with telling me that? That's just another NLP thing. When you're saying something that's negative towards you, like, if I say something that doesn't work for you, are you okay with telling me that? So it's all in your pitches and everything, but, once you say that last one, you'll say, great, that's like you giving me an A. Okay, so you'll go on and then you'll say, at the same time, I'm going to be grading you. Obviously, as an investor, I'm here to meet your needs and to make a profit. Are you okay with that? If you aren't, then this won't work. Are you sure about that? Great. Okay, so basically what, you're going to let him answer and say, okay. And you'll go along after that and you'll say, I don't know if I can meet your needs and make a profit. If I can't, then I'll have to give this an F. And if we can figure out a way that I can meet your needs and make a profit, then I'll give you an A. That's explaining how you're grading him, obviously. The only way we'll take the next step is if we can both give this an A, which makes it a win-win situation for him. It makes him more comfortable. It lets him know that you're not trying to hide anything. You're putting it all out there on the table, and you're wanting him to give you a grade. You're wanting him to say, if this works for me, then we'll do it. If it doesn't work for me, then I'm going to let you know, and us as ERS will not be, pushy. We're okay with getting a no. If he's not extremely motivated, then that's fine. And then you'll say, I promise up front to let you know at the end of our conversation that I'm either giving you an A or an F. So that I'm being respectful of your time and of mine. I'm going to ask the same courtesy in return from you. Is that fair? What you're doing is, when you say that and he is committing, he's not going to tell you no. He's not going to, turn down a simple common courtesy after you're going to give him a grade. You're asking him to do the same thing for you. He's not going to say no about that. And you're not asking for an answer. You're asking for a grade, but in essence, the grade is the answer. So when you say that, you say, is that fair? Then of course he's going to say, yes, that's fair. And, after you get done discussing, it may not be the answer that you want, but you're going to get an answer, yes or no. You're going to get an A or an F. If it's an A, you got it. If it's an F, you don't got it. You might have to restructure the deal, or it just may not be something that's going to work out. Here are 4 ways, switching gears a little bit, that we can find out a seller's motivation for selling. We need to uncover what the seller's real needs are, okay? We need to cure the seller of the ostrich syndrome. We need to eliminate the seller's other options, and we need to uncover the seller's timeline for selling. Here's how we uncover the seller's real needs. Our opening question is, so what were you hoping I could do for you today? When you first go in the house, obviously you'll say, hello, I'm Jared. You'll go through the first script and you'll say, so what were you hoping I could do for you today? That's going to open up what his needs are, okay? That's how we're going to know, what he's wanting. And hopefully he's going to be wanting what we can offer him. Another thing to do is what Peter Conti calls the what-if game. The goal is to get the seller to agree to the major terms of the deal before you ever make a formal offer. So basically how you do that is you say, Mr. Seller, if I were able to hand you a cashier's check for full asking price right now, you'd be able to take it, wouldn't you? And he'd say, yes, of course. And you'd say, obviously as an investor, I can't do that. It's got to work for me too. But what if I were able to, and then you'd go on to what you think would be a good, good terms of the deal. You'd say, what if I were able to make your rent payment for, 2 years, and at the end of the 2 years, cash you out of the property at your full asking price? Would that be okay with you? And then he would say, yeah. And then you would say, okay, well, maybe I can do that. Let's see. Continue on. Also in that, you could discuss the length of the deal. That's another term. You could say, you could say 2 years, like I said, or you could say, what if I could do 5 years? What if I could pay your rent for 5 years, and then after 5 years cash you out? If he said, nah, I really like my money before that, then you'd say, well, what if I could if I could make your rent payment for 3 years? And he'd say, well, that sounds like something that I could do. So instead of having your initial 2, now you've got 3 years of passive income coming in off that property instead of, your original 2. Here are 12 steps you need to take to find your hungry tenant buyer and find them fast. This is the 2 areas that we're trying to really, really focus on now. Our first couple of meetings, we decided that we were going to put out signs to find nothing but houses, because we were finding plenty of tenant buyers, well, actually, we weren't finding tenant buyers, we were finding renters. We were finding the people, but we were having a hard time finding the houses. So what we really needed to do is focus our signs on finding the houses, which are doing a good job. And also we need to focus on finding good tenant buyers. And here's what we do. We use our voicemail box that we already have set up, and we use the scripted messages that we've already given you and you've put on your voicemail. We need to spread the word about the property. Now, we can do that in many different ways. First of all, networking. If you know people in the community that are, executives, that have clout, that people look up to, then you can use, those people to spread the word.